Me, your boy SM36415 out here playing some Modern Warfare Remastered. God, I love this game. I can't stop playing it, honestly. It's my addiction. Um, Mainly because, I don't know, there's just something to it. It's just so classic. I don't know. Maybe if more people were playing, if more games were like this, right? Just simple. Simple, not complicated games. Just simple, well constructed, addictive, not complicated, no bullshit, no microtransactions, just game and gameplay. A good grinding system, you know, something to grind for. A grind that doesn't feel too much out of your way, but a grind that challenges you, but not over challenges you though. What I mean by over challenging is like, you know, when there's like 1,000 fucking camos and you get gold or something like that. You know, if there wasn't. Oh shit, my dude got launched. But not like anything too hyper intensive, anything too like impossible, like, you know, on that fucking Dark Souls level shit. You know, something that people can easily learn, but not so easily masterable. You know, something that takes time to master. You know, not something you can just pick up and, you know, get the hang of right away, but something that you can, I don't know, be good at. I don't know. There's not enough games like that today. In today's world, people try to cater to certain, I don't know, groups of people. We don't reward people for being good anymore. We instead punish them by we nerf the weapons that are okay and good, that we do a bunch of dumb stuff. I don't know, man. Like games, there were just guns that sucked, and then there were guns that were good. And if you were good with a gun that sucked, then you know that took skill. I don't know. I'm getting into a rant. Trying to get my Uzi gold. I really want to also get the CZ Scorpion gold. Sort of shitting around a little bit. I was up for over 40 hours. I did a live stream this morning explaining the situation, just because I had no time to edit or anything like that. I just needed to just get the information out there. And oh my god, was it very strenuous. Was it very stressful. Tomorrow on Monday, I'm gonna go eat at my favorite Mexican restaurant. You know, I really do like the El Rancho Grandes, but man, oh man, do I gotta just sit down and say, you know, there are better restaurants that are actually cheaper. Not better as in like the quality of the food is significantly better, but like there's this one Mexican restaurant I really like. I'm not gonna say the name of it. You're in Modern Warfare. Ah. Nice. Oh man. I've been up for over 40 hours. And I just got up from a nap. Nice. Yeah, I need to start collecting helmets from World War I myself and World War II. Man, I tell you what, I love history. Oh, man. KIA in the Pacific Theater. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, man. I'm just trying to wake up, man. I was so excited to get up, man. I was like so excited to go down to my favorite Mexican restaurant, but it's Sunday, so they closed early. And it's like, god damn, I hate my fucking schedule. I'm off on Mondays and Sundays. Ah. Enemy UAV is airborne. Yeah, my yeah. What do you call it? One of the things that I've been studying a lot of as far as history goes, World War II and whatnot. I've been studying the Napoleon Bonaparte. What do you call it? His Enemy UAV is airborne. I've been studying like the French Revolution and whatnot. Like, I don't know why I've been studying it so much, but just I have. And it comes to me as kind of crazy if you think about it. Like the timeline in which everything was happening, and then where the rest of the world was at that time. I've even so much has been studying African and Indian history. Not really like Indian history, but like where the British, or the British Empire sort of sets in. I've been I've been more or less studying the British history over its various colonies, and I've been studying a lot of empires lately. In my history, on my spare time, reading and watching videos and watching not movies but documentaries. There we go, victory. We sucked ass, but we're using the shittiest weapon. We're gonna get this Uzi Gold. I don't give a fuck. Hold on, guys. I got some Mountain Dew Baja Blast in a can. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some Mountain Dew. Actually, I brought my mic with me, so it's not like I actually left. Oh, there we go. My favorite Mountain Dew, Baja Blast. Where are we at? Yes, we got 10 depot credits. Damn, all of them are duplicates. Well, that is what it is, part of the grind. Did you know I'm still a virgin? There's a history fact. Yeah, I know. I feel like I got Osama bin Laden sitting right next to me with a fucking bomb strapped to him, ready to go off at any point. But, I mean, like, I don't really care. What do you call it? But sometime in 1943, he was captured by the Japanese. Oh, shit. My great-grandfather fought in the Pacific Theater in World War II. He was captured. He was a captain in the Navy. Sometime in 1943, he was captured by the Japanese. Yeah, and the Japanese are very brutal. They tortured American POWs. And studying warfare is very important. I think people don't understand. Um, people don't understand the true value of studying warfare. Oh, peace out, Brittany. But yeah, like the thing is, yeah, people don't understand, you know, how valuable knowledge really is. And knowledge is something so valuable, right? It's learning. It's important to understand certain things, certain aspects of life. Because you can look at things historically and say, hey, this don't feel right because, like, alright, so when people start banning guns, right, it's like, hey, this don't feel right. Historically speaking, every country that has ever banned guns has either become a communist regime where the citizens have absolutely no power or authority, and their government has so much human rights abuses and violations. Being able to cite certain facts and aspects are nice when debating people with politics and history and formulating an opinion that actually holds weight. Um, you know. Yeah, history was always my favorite subject. I love history so much. I always loved that Call of Duty. I always loved Modern Warfare 2. General Shepard's quote from the beginning: "History is written by the victor," because it is so true. Whoever wins a war will usually write about it or document it in history from their perspective. So, like, from the American perspective, we don't see things from the German perspective of World War II. If you study Hitler, right, you start to see a character that is actually pretty relatable. Like he was just, if you think about Hitler as this evil person, he's still a person. Everybody's a person. Everybody has a family. Everybody has, certain shared experiences as people. And when you start to understand why they do the things that they do, right? Because when you write a villain in a movie, right, if they don't have a good enough motive and they're not good as a villain in general, they're not understandable. Like, that was always a problem with Makarov in the Modern Warfare universes. He was not a well-written villain. He didn't have any true motive. He just did what he wanted to do because he was a ultranationalist. It doesn't really explain why he's an ultranationalist, what motivates him to do these atrocities. I think it comes into good cinema as well, writing villains and people like that and understanding certain things. Yep. And it's not even just that. History is everything. It's not just war, You can look at women's rights and look at the history of that. You can study the history of slavery. You can study the history of various cultures and stuff like that. Certain cultures that are no longer a thing. Certain countries that are no longer countries. Because either A, they've been dominated by another country, or B, they couldn't afford to be a country or a nation. You can study different tribes of Native Americans and of different cultures. Every culture has a history. And so, I don't know, just the ability to understand certain things is awesome. I'm trying to understand more of the Mexican history. I'm half Mexican, so I wanted to study more Mexican history, in particular, not just the Mexican-American War, but the history of Mexico, in particular, before the Spanish got there, like the ancient Mexico, like the Aztec culture and whatnot. It interests me quite a bit. But I think that, it is what it is. But I don't know, when you look at history and you study the same war from different perspectives, you tend to get cross-referenced facts that are verifiable by people that were there and by other accredited history sources. The problem is when you hear the word accredited, people don't understand the value of what that means. means it's been certified or it's been studied and examined and ultimately has some sort of weight to it, versus some random guy gets on the television and starts talking about shit he doesn't know. You know what I mean? Exactly, and like exactly that's part of why what I liked about. I'm sorry, I'm reading your previous comment about the Treaty of Versailles. Is when the before NATO was a thing, it was the United Nations or whatever it was. They were the League of Nations or some bullshit like that, and basically they were extremely underpowered. And but the problem was this, right? Germany had to pay all the ridiculous tariffs. Their people became very poor because they had to pay for everything they did. Yeah, I know it wasn't and I said the UN. I'm like, no, that's today. It was the League of Nations. Yeah. Um, like I knew what I was trying to say, but it didn't come to me. But yeah, no, I mean, people like, I don't know, man. Like, if you study, like, I love Uncharted. It is one of my favorite games because it references the great explorers of the world, like Marco Polo and Sir Francis Drake, and so on and so forth. And to me, that history is just so, like, that history element of it just, it gets me intrigued. It gets me hooked in. Like, that's why I always liked Indiana Jones and Lara Croft from Tomb Raider. It's just that explorer, historian, vibe. I love it. Exactly, and that's the thing, right? History is written by the victor. It is such a true quote because if you win something and you set the terms, I mean, it's the people have to pay for it, and the German people did pay for it. They paid for it by losing a lot of money, by starving, and it was a bad time to be a German in Europe at that point in time. And so, when Hitler was a hero to Germany, before World War II, he really he was a painter, and he got arrested and he became part of the Nazi Party. But the thing was, right, when he became Chancellor of Germany, he sort of became a hero because he fixed their economy and he did a bunch of things that sort of got Germany out of the hole that was, the Treaty of Versailles, and started moving Germany with momentum and really fixing a lot of the problems that Germany had. And he reestablished their military power. Now, they weren't supposed to do that. They weren't supposed to be able to have anything like that, but they did anyway. And I mean, in the end of the day, he made what he did in politics, his political power, made Volkswagen, or the people's car brand for Germany. Now, they're kind of shitty cars in today's world, to be honest with you. But the thing is, back then, cars were not affordable, and so, Volkswagen became a thing, and more people were able to have the conveniences and luxuries. And back in those days, it was a huge deal, it was a huge thing. But we wouldn't have certain things, like Germany had some of the most advanced aircrafts and had some of the most powerful tanks, some of the most advanced weapons, at that point in time. And, we got so many things out of it, like BMW. We had, Germany produced a lot of things that were highly technologically advanced. The other thing, Germany's art is their artists and their musicians, their classical musicians, like, Beethoven and whatnot. Like, there's a lot that Germany was sort of evolving in the culture, and Hitler really pushed the culture, at that point in time, because everyone looked down upon being a German, because everyone kind of frowned upon it because, they were super poor, whatever. The only problem was when he um, when he really just tried to exile the Jews, and then that turned into genocide. And you know, he started mixing certain elements of his like ego and whatnot. Like the power eventually got to his head because you know here's a guy that's you know he's a person like everyone else with everyday stresses and issues. He also has terminal health problems. I think he became blinded by mustard gas in World War One. There was actually a British soldier who could have actually killed Hitler during World War One, but didn't. That would have altered history completely. It's little shit like that, you know. It's kind of also interesting about history. But you know, here you have Hitler, and you know, he's making all this progress, right? And you know, it takes a lot of dedication to get to that progress, and so I'm sure it was mentally strenuous the amount of shit he was doing. But at the and at the same time, you know, he's mixing his personal biases in with his power, and power got to his head. He wouldn't listen to his he wouldn't listen to his military generals. He wouldn't listen to the people that gave him information or that suggested certain things. He just saw himself as this all-powerful tyrant, and that's what he really became eventually. And the problem was this, you know, I think the beautiful thing about Call of Duty is, like, at least the older classic Call of Duty, so they had some powerful quotes. And I remember it from Modern Warfare 3, Makarov's quote from the very beginning of the game when he booted up. He always says this. What was it? All warfare is based on deception. And at some point in his quote, he says, the bigger the lie, the more likely people will believe it. Look at Germany, man. Those people were psyops, bro. Like, with propaganda and whatnot. And you see that pretty much what the cause and effect of so much propaganda and cultural appropriation can do to a culture is you get a whole bunch of people in the military, get a whole bunch of people doing things that are positive, and you got people that are constructing things at a mass rate. They started really their industrial structures, not structures, infrastructure as a nation. They were producing so much shit, bro. Cars, guns, manufactured goods. Like, it's just boom, 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 boom. It was fast. It was like lightning production. It was insane. All of a sudden now they're this powerful military, and they're going into countries like Austria and whatnot, and they're like taking over basically. And you know, Czechoslovakia was still a country, and you know, look what happened to that. I don't know, man. I think people can learn a thing or two from a history book, and I think that it's why I always like I don't know. I love culture. I do. I love American culture mostly, but I love just going to an art museum and seeing things from different countries in that art museum, and you know, just culture is everything. And I think that, truly speaking, we are privileged to live in a culture where it is a melting pot, where people are able to be able to free think and whatnot. The Enlightenment period, that was just such an advanced thing. I don't know. In my opinion, it's just crazy. But studying everything, because you could really learn a lot, and you don't need to go to college to study things. You can literally just watch the History Channel nonstop and read a bunch of shit, go to a library, you know, learn things. It's great. It won't do you any harm to just know certain things. And I don't know, war has an impact on people culturally speaking. Like this is one thing, that's the reason why people always talk about war when they talk about history, you know, is war has effects on things on such a level that you cannot change it. You get entire races of people hating one another because of actions committed by people, you know. Like, that's the thing, when you look at warrior poets, and like you look at people that are soldiers, you know, they end up, their experiences and their traumas give them knowledge and give them an opinion that exceeds past any sort of bias. It exceeds past any kind of, you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. Their opinions exceed propaganda that promotes something else. Their opinions are hands-on, and they experience it directly. Like I think I was watching this interview, and this Navy SEAL guy was talking about how like when they did a mission or whatever, and they were room clearing, and here he's got the night vision goggles, and there's this guy in bed with his wife or whatever, and he's waking up and he sees the guy, and now all of a sudden he's reaching for a rifle on the bedside, and so he had to take him out because obviously he's reaching for a gun. But just like you're two people from two completely different countries. You're talking about like we're all just people. We all have families, you know what I mean? That's why I said that earlier when it comes to Hitler. If you see Hitler as just a person like every other people, it's easier to analyze him. Analyze, what kind of a person he really was beyond his atrocities. And that's a lot of things that happen to gangsters is people look at, Al Capone and Lucky Luciani and all these, these gangsters in a different light because there's so many different aspects to them. They're complicated people. They live complicated lives. And people even romanticize like the Western period, the American Western period, where the gold rush and whatnot. Like there was a whole thing, man. That's why we have things like Red Dead Redemption, and we had actors like Clint Eastwood doing westerns. And I don't know, man. Like it's just, in my opinion, dude. Like history is awesome, and everything has a history to it. Cinema has a history to it. Video games have a history to it. Guns, cars, books. The way we were writing things, and we went from writing things on tablets, like stone tablets and shit, to the discovery of paper technology, writing, working, like worker unions. Like being a peasant or a slave is different from being in a union. You know what I mean? People have so much freedom now. Like when countries would take over other countries, they would take their people and turn them into peasants and slaves, and turn them into the working class for production reasons. Versus now, we're all, like, if we look at things the way it used to be and look at it now, we as humans and as individuals have rights to certain things and decrees. We have, what do you call it? We have houses. We have our own places. We don't have to stay in some small, shitty guest home. And it's like, see, the thing is, slavery was done differently across different areas. Different countries treated slavery very differently. Some countries weren't as shitty about it. Where when you bought a slave, that slave was part of the family unit, and so it's like it's nothing more than being a butler or a maid. You know what I mean? So when we think about shit like that, it's just like versus how some other slaves were treated. And the thing is, I was studying a lot of African history because everyone, and I always find African history very interesting. In particular, yeah, I'll be streaming tomorrow. Definitely be streaming tomorrow. But yeah, I don't know. One of the histories or cultures I find interesting. Alright, hey man, you too. You too. Yeah, I finally got some sleep, man. I was up for over 40 hours. But, yeah, one of the cultures I find very interesting is, not cultures, but the history of Africa. The Rhodesian Bush War in particular. Just the way that Africa, like I was watching a video on, you know, why Africa is still poor, and you know, like Africa has some rich nations in it, and then it's like studying the history, the older history of Africa, how they made their money, right? Because when their gold mines started drying up, right? The way they started making money was by selling slaves. So what did they do? One nation would go to war with another, take its win the war or lose the war. Whoever lost the war, their people were taken as slaves and then sold to other countries, and it was profitable. That was the whole thing with that. So, you know, when people blame America for slavery, like here's my opinion, right? America, in and of itself, we're a stolen nation. Alright, and here's why I don't blame American culture. For the history, for the dawn of time, people have been killing other people to take away their country and use their people to their own authority. Napoleon, you know, did similar shit. Not really, but kind of, sort of. I don't know. The Napoleonic Wars were really just people trying to take out Napoleon, and, you know, if you really study it, you know, he's not such a bad person, but it's just the way, like, the way, he was very power hungry, he was very ambitious, but, you know, yeah, that's crazy, but, and, like, Genghis Khan, look at what he did to certain nations and whatnot. And, I mean, like, it was crazy. And, I mean, like, you know, so when I look at America, I don't see a nation that, you know, yeah, they did some bad shit to the Native Americans, but the Native Americans did some very shitty things to the Pilgrims as well. So it's on both sides. So, most definitely. But the thing is, right, America, we were just looking for independence from Britain. So not only are we not settling into our land properly because, well, you know, the indigenous people, we're coming in unwelcome, and we're being hunted down, and our shit's being destroyed, and food things are being stolen, and people are going missing, and, you know, certain, you know, just shit like that, little conflicts. In some cases, there wasn't conflicts. In some cases, some tribes were welcoming and some weren't. And I think that, you know, when we look at a country like America, and we have these leftist extremists saying that, you know, America should be ashamed of itself for being America. It's like, okay, well, we could say the same thing about every other nation. Oh, I live in America. I live in America. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about American history right now. I mean, I was talking about history for most of my stream. But when people say, like, our culture is horrible because, you know, we took the land from Native Americans, you know, we're not the only country to have done that. That's what I'm just so... That's why I'm not as, like, shook up about it. It's because it's not right, but we're not the only ones that have done this. Not by a long shot. The British most certainly did that way worse than what we did. By all means, I mean, they were a fucking empire. They had colonies and colonized Africa. They colonized, you know, Australia, for instance. They colonized a bunch of places, you know, and so they tried to take what wasn't theirs in a lot of ways. And so when America, right, when the Americans went to America and the Native Americans were not welcoming to the Pilgrims, and they, you know, we fought battles, the British were like, all right, now we're going to colonize you guys, and you're going to pay us a tax. And America's like, Fuck you, asshole. We're not paying your tax. You're not our boss. We're our own country. We're independent. So it started a war. You know, like the Great Britain was like the IRS of this of the 1800s, or of the not 1800s, of the 1700s. My bad. And because America officially became a country in 1776, but I forget when exactly we actually landed here. But I'd have to go back and fully get into it. But what do you call it? Yeah, I think it's just crazy, right? But yeah, the world was different back in those days, man. It was easy. Times were easier. Well, not easier, simpler, but harder. Things can get complicated really quickly, though, which is strange.
UAV recon standing by. We've taken the lead. Our UAV is online.
But no, I think people should. I think yeah, I think people are doing the right thing. Yeah, tunnel warfare is kind of scary because in World War II and in Vietnam, man, those people can dig. The Vietnamese, they can dig. They can dig holes, man. Like, I mean, they can dig holes, bro. They had entire networks of tunnels. Bro, it's like, holy shit, bro. I mean, like, if you ever worked in landscaping like I have, you would know digging that many holes, digging that deep, and for that, the method you'd have to dig to trench a hole. I mean, oh my god, dude. Minecraft will take over modern USA. Well, Minecraft doesn't have guns. They have bows and diamond swords. I guess they have netherite armor. I don't know what 556 will do to netherite armor. I don't know. I think it might delete the block, or you know, I don't know. It's crazy because I was playing Borderlands 2 back in the day, and I remember that Minecraft Easter egg. Modded. Yeah, that's modded though. The United States can install the mod where it blocks Minecraft out of existence. But nah, man. Yeah, I don't know. I love history. You know, so I don't think I've seen you in my streams before. I try to remember some of my viewers. I mean, some of the subscribers and whatnot that are consistently in my streams. I kind of remember their gamer tag or whatever. But I talk a lot about history and, in particular, culture. Like, more so today than usually. But literally just because for like the past 3 days I've been watching the documentaries on the Napoleonic Wars, African history, because
Our UAV is online.
Oh man. I'm just sucking ass right now. I hate this gun. I'm just trying to get it gold for funny reasons. Damn it. Yeah, I'm pulling out. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm feeling hella tired. I don't think I'm gonna be streaming much longer. It's only 8:20. Oh fuck, bro. I feel so tired because I was up for over 40 hours. I just woke up and it's like I couldn't go back to bed, and now I'm gonna force myself back to bed, basically. um, you know, this shit is what it is, man. I don't know what else to say. Oh. Oh no, it's a new year. It's 2024. If I can, in every single stream, encourage people to study more history and culture and really spread you know, the positivity when it comes to history and learning things, I think we'd have a better world if people just knew things. That way, you know, ultimately when they go to vote or make a choice or talk about certain things, they can spread different aspects of things on an intelligent level. I don't know. Chocolate and Monster Energy keeps me awake, but it makes my head tingly. My particular poison is NOS Energy. NOS Energy. That's my choice when it comes to energy drinks. Would. Interesting. Man. I love this gun. You know, I really want to get another Beretta 92 FS, but at the same time, for my I don't know, I'm still on the fence. I want to get the Walther P99 Final Edition, and I also really want to get a Smith & Wesson MMP Shield. You know, in particular, I want to get the 30 or the 380 variant with the Performance Center Edition or whatever. You know, it's got the ported barrel, it's got the skeletonized slide, it's got the night sights, the adjustable trigger. It's really nice. You know, I mean, yeah, the 380 is kind of strange, but I don't have a 380 yet, and I kind of want I kind of want a fun experience with a 380. If anything, I mean, I can get any other ordinary generic 380 pistol and whatnot, but that one I can make it tactical and really see what 380 can really do in terms of performance and accuracy and whatnot. And oh my gosh, dude, this is, I think, everyone's favorite sniper, the M40. I mean, if it's not everyone's favorite, it's at least up there. I love this gun. I really want to, at some point in my life, I'd like to own an M40, a Shytac Intervention. My biggest dream sniper rifle, bolt action sniper rifle. My dream rifle in real life is the Accuracy International L96A1 Arctic Warfare. That's, you know, the first time I ever seen that thing was in Black Ops 1. It was the only bolt-action sniper rifle in the game. Literally the only bolt-action, the sniper rifle. There was the Walther WA2000, that was semi-auto. The Dragunov, obviously that's going to be semi-auto. But the HK PSG-1, that's also semi-auto. The L96A1 is the only bolt-action gun in that game, which is insane to me, that they couldn't include just any other generic bolt-action rifle. But no, that was the only one they had back in those days. But in this game, there's only 2 bolt actions: the Remington R700. The rest, the M21, this is like this is actually an M14 or an M1A type of thing. I can't have guns like that. I'm in the so you must live in Australia. If I'm pronouncing, is it Australia or Australia? I don't know. I don't know. Hey, you know what? For the next culture I'll study Australian culture. I'll do that. What do you call it? But yeah, dude, this is like seriously the only 2 bolt actions in the entire game: the R700 and the M40A3. By the way, these are the actual names of the guns: the Dragunov and the Barrett 50 cal. I mean, you know, it doesn't have the exact model of Barrett, but it's pretty generic. It's, you know, back when Call of Duty was good. Perfect. Not gonna be snarky, but you did it. You did perfect. Oh, Australia. Yeah, I mean, I have a few buddies from Australia, on my PlayStation and whatnot. And they mostly play Rust. like, I don't know, both of them, they play Rust all the time and DayZ. It's crazy, but it's true. And Minecraft. I have a few buddies from Europe, from different parts of Europe. I'm not going to say specifically where, because you know they wouldn't want me saying it. But they like to play like FIFA and soccer and shit like that. I don't know. Soccer's huge in Europe, I guess. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of obvious, you know. It's like trying to be unique, but having only 1 or 2 options. It's like college or going to college. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, man, it's insane. Because I should really be asleep still. I was up for 40 hours. I worked, let's see, I worked 24 hours, right? So 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 plus another 8. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Yeah, so I worked 24 hours with no sleep. So the thing was, I got up at like 7 in the morning. And so the thing is, when it hit 7 p.m. I was still up, and I had to be at work at 11. So I could have got some sleep, but I didn't. I worked a double shift. Now the thing was, I wasn't supposed to work a double shift. I was just supposed to work a regular 8 hours. So 8 hours is close to going by, and then on the 6.5 hour, when I was like 6:35 or whatever, 6:36, whatever time it was, they asked me, hey, someone called off, and the person with you on your current shift is already working a double, so you're going to have to hold over. And I said, okay. And so I did it anyway. Now the problem was, later that day, I had plans to go looking at apartments and gonna go pay off my credit card. The XRX, but it looks like another bolt action sniper. I don't know. There's this there's a ShyTac intervention. Now they changed. Now this is not called the ShyTac intervention, but if you look up ShyTac, that's not with an S, that's with a CH. EYTEC ShyTac, I think. I don't know. Don't quote me on it. Intervention. This is what you're going to ultimately see, and this thing is just awesome. But this is not a default weapon, nor is the D25S. This is real. So this is really a AR-10, which is an AR-15. Well, actually, the AR-15 is an AR-10 in 5.56. The AR-10 is calibrated in 308. So this is a DMR, or designated marksman rifle, variant of a, or configuration rather, of a AR-10. And so the thing is, you got that massive muzzle device on it. That's a big ass muzzle device attached to it. That's not only where that it looks like you have a partial muzzle brake with a compensator / flash hider attached to the end of it. So not only is it mitigating your flash and shot-per-shot recoil, but you're also reducing recoil and increasing your velocity by that muzzle brake. So I don't know, that's super fucking advanced, super crazy. That muzzle device is probably like $230, probably. It's that crazy. The rifling is probably improved as well. It's got an M-LOK rail on it. It's pretty cool, but you could look at the lower receiver if you know anything about AR-15s. You can look at the lower receiver. Like if you look at the okay, so you see the upper receiver is a different color, right? The upper receiver is like brass. See the brass from the handguard or barrel shroud or whatever you want to call it. You would look over and you would see that, hey, the upper part of the gun's also the same color. That's because it's all the same configuration. Everything beneath that is the lower receiver. If you look at it and look at where the magazine well is, look how long the mag is. Like, look how wide it is. If we go over to the AR-15 or the M4 carbine, it is a similar style, but look at the magazine. Look how thinner it is. It's not nearly as thick as this. They look to be about the same thickness, but they're not. See, like, that's gonna be in 308. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the newer Call of Duties. Like, they're releasing guns that cannot, like, they don't license their shit, so they have to look a certain type of way, and or in general, you know, they change really small minor details, and they oversight certain things to make them less obvious or less apparent, so you're not really, the few guns they do license, it's kind of cool. Like the M4 doesn't need a license. It's just because there are so many different companies. Like if you look at the Thompson, right, there were so many different companies besides, you know, the company that originally made the Thompson or the Tommy gun. Um, a bunch of different companies, typewriter companies, car companies, railroad companies, they were making guns. So sometimes you would get a gun or something like that, not made by the direct manufacturer. Like if you look at the 1911, so many different manufacturers created the 1911. Colt created the 1911. A railroad company created the 1911. Like there's so many different fucking variations of it. It's like you don't really need the specific, Browning, John Moses Browning made the 1911. You don't need that exact gun, because literally so many different people cloned the 1911, and there's so many different licensed clones of the 1911 as well. You can generally just call a gun a 1911, and it basically simplifies it down to a T. Whereas something like this, the M9, this is more direct, because only one company makes the M9, and that's Beretta. You know what I mean? And same thing with this USP-45. This is made by HK, or Heckler & Koch. But the M1911, and its 45 ACP, this can be made by literally any company. Springfield Armory, Colts, Smith & Wesson has one, Ruger has one, Sig Sauer even makes an M1911. Browning makes an M1911. Remington makes an M1911. Like, the list goes on, bro. Like, it's insane. Desert Eagle, Magnum Research makes a Desert Eagle, which is kind of cool, but there's a lot of Desert Eagle clones out there as well. I don't know, man. The world of guns, like, I don't know, man. You talk about guns, you're going to be talking for like several hours about different calibers, rounds, their effectiveness, like what I like on a gun, what guns I do like, which ones I don't like. I personally own 16. I hope that later this year, when I move out, when I'm building up my money, I really hope that I can put together a really awesome AR-15 setup. Not a build, but a setup. The Walther P38 Deagle can't be cocktail pushing it forward. So, yeah. Oh no, there's a lot of interesting stuff with certain guns. Like, back in World War I, when the 1911 was first invented, there was no safety. So, like, okay, so you see that. Okay, so you see the that weird thing on the back of the gun, not like the dovetail thing on the back, like on the handle, but if you look above that on the side of the gun, behind like the grip, you might see that like weird little lever thing. So what that does, if the hammer is cocked back, you can flip that up and you can carry it with that on, while the gun's also cocked and locked, right? With a round in the chamber, without it going off, you can flip that up. The thing is, I'll grab my 1911, so because I own several handguns. The thing about it is, it does not do that normally. It only does that if the hammer's down. If the hammer's up, it does not actually do that. The thing is, that dovetail thing on the back of the handle, or on the receiver or whatever, beneath the hammer, that thing sticking out, yeah, that has to be, depressed in order for you to pull the trigger. And this is a single action, so the hammer has to be cocked back. It's not double action, because if the hammer's up and you pull the trigger, nothing's gonna happen. But alright, weapon clear. Alright, but if I were to pull the trigger and dry fire it, in order for me to do that, I have to have my my hand depress, or my actual thumb or hand or whatever. My hand has to be in the hand, because that pressure plate thing on the back, on the that dovetail thing sticking out of the back, that has to be depressed. The thing was, in World War I, if I'm not mistaken, at the beginning of the war or whatever, people didn't have that weird lever thing on the side. So what ended up happening is, when they would draw, sometimes their finger would slip into the trigger guard, and because they're drawing it so aggressively, they might accidentally pull the trigger and shoot themselves while they're unholstering their weapon. It's happened. It's just, you can look at it, it's happened. So I think the M1911A1 or the M1911 or whatever, at some point they changed it a little bit by adding that extra functionality, that extra safety. So you can carry it in the holster. Like, I'll go ahead and chamber around real quick. So now I got one in the chamber, but I can flip that little lever thing, put it in my holster, and now all of a sudden it's one in the chamber, but I can pull the trigger. Nothing happens. Why? Because that safety thing. Normally speaking, if I did that without that on there, I'd have a pretty bad fucking day. But the thing is, with firearms and firearm safety, is, I mean, you just got to think about, you know, how you're using these weapons. Like, for instance, like Glocks don't have safeties. So they have really heavy, usually stereotypically they have these really, really heavy, annoying, lame triggers. I hate Glock triggers. I hate them because, you know, they're super heavy, so you know, you only pull the trigger when you know you absolutely have to. That's fucking retarded. I get it. Some people might feel comfortable with that because they don't know much about guns and because they don't trust themselves as much with a gun. But someone like me that has hours and hours and hours and hours and hours behind certain guns, I don't want that stupid safety shit getting in the way, because in my opinion, my adrenaline, my training kicks in, and then, you know, I'm operating the shit how it should be operated. I'm gonna go ahead and take out this fat ass 45 ACP round out of there. 45 ACP, I gotta do a video on 45 ACP versus 9mm. Like, you guys have no idea, maybe some of you do, but 45 ACP is fucking fat. It's a chunky fucking round, dude. It's crazy. But I'm running 45 ACP. Hold on, let me unlock my safe and let me look at the ammo. It'll tell me. I still have a box of the shit. I have a big fat ass box of 45 ACP ammo. Way more than I need. I only have one gun in 45. Which reminds me, I want to get more guns in 45 ACP. That's why I'm just looking at some of Sig Sauer's offerings. It's federal ammo. I'm running the 230 grain jacketed hollow points, or JHP. 230 grain rounds. That's pretty crazy. Because if I'm not mistaken, the Sig Sauer Elite Defense is like 140 grain. Let me check the box. 147 grain JHP. So it's pretty up there. Usually, commonly speaking, you know, the 115 grains are pretty common, but the 147 grain, it just, I don't know, I always find on, you know, when I shoot it, it really hits things. Like, I've shot gelatin blocks, ballistic gel, and I can tell you that the 147 grain, it looks like the impact of it, like you can see it, the gel is like, it moves around a lot more, like it gets pushed back, and you can tell it has a lot of force behind it. And I feel like if I was a person getting shot with something like that, I feel like it would hurt different, like it would feel different, you know. Depends on if the person has a lot of muscle or fat in between, it can cushion the round and whatnot, and depending on distance. But ideally at 25 yards shooting ballistic gel, it's not like in person where you're like literally 6 or 7 feet away from me and I pump 3 rounds really fast in center mass, and you know those rounds are gonna hit pretty hard. And 147 grain traveling at, how fast do those rounds actually travel? It should say on the box at some point. I mean, it should say where the velocity is. But yeah, mine's Sig Sauer Personal Defense Ammunition Elite Defense V Crown JHP hollow points, or it stands for jacketed hollow points. They travel at 985 feet per second with 317 foot-pounds of energy. Coming out of a 6.2, or I don't know how long exactly my Beretta 92 FS barrel measures, but coming out of a 6-inch barrel at I don't know, 6 or 7 feet away from me. Like that's pretty freaking hectic. You know, that'll shut shit down real quick. Shooting a semi-automatic is like a full-time job. Responding to the mag time. I don't know, man. Like personally owning 16 firearms, doing a lot of training, and being a security guard, because that's what I do for a living. I'm not an armed security guard. I'm unarmed at this time, but having that sort of like, security or not really law enforcement, but I get a badge. Like I straight up have a whole badge that they issued me, and you have a guard's card, so I got a badge and a gun. But no, seriously, yeah, having that kind of stuff going on is, I don't know, it's interesting. I love it. I like it. It's fun. It's like the job itself sounds really cool. It's like, I'm a security guard. At first I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have all this situational awareness. I'm gonna be really good at my job. And then you actually go to work and you realize how boring it really is. Like, oh my gosh, I can't begin to tell you guys how lazy certain people are. I'm not lazy. I show up to work every fucking day on time. Actually, I show up early. I show up 15 minutes early every shift, so that way the people can guarantee that I'm going to relieve them because I get there so early. I can relieve them early. Some people don't like to stay over. The thing is, I'm always staying over. I'm always covering people's shifts, so I'm working on my days off. Like, bro, I had 78 hours last week. Like, I barely got any sleep. And it's like, people are always asking me, like, oh, I thought we were going to do this. We had plans. It's like, dude, I really cannot have plans doing this job with how much, like, flex time I'm getting. And that's the thing, I'm not a flex officer. I'm just a full-time worker. Being a flex officer, the hours are not guaranteed, but they're guaranteed. You're basically guaranteed over 30 hours, guaranteed way over 30 hours, but you're also probably going to end up getting, like, realistically, average in a week, you're going to average out to 60 hours on an average, so making 40 hours is no problem. So it's basically a full-time job, but because you're on call, you're going to easily get a majority of your overtime, but there are times where you're working a part-time shift or whatnot, or in between, or you might cover a part-time shift, so sometimes it might not be exactly 40 hours in 8-hour shifts, that you might be working a 16-hour shift. Like sometimes I work 16-hour shifts, 2 8-hour shifts back to back, or you might end up working a 4-hour shift, so 16 plus 4 is 20, so that's already half of your 40 hours, and then all of a sudden, you might work another 8-hour shift, and so now you're building up that time on the time card, because now you're at 28 hours, so now you only got 12 more hours to fill, and then all of a sudden, boom, you work a 16-hour shift, so you just made over 40 hours, and that's only, 4 days of actual work. There are 5 days in the week, so add another day, so you'd be at, how much did I say? So that'd be 20 plus 8, 28, plus another 8-hour shift. That 28 turns into 16, so you made, I don't know, I was on some shit a second ago, I don't know, but say you work another double or some shit like that, then boom, you made over 40 hours on average. You're going to get over 40 hours easily. Because there hasn't been, since I've worked there, since I started, there wasn't a single day, apart from my first week, which I started at the end of the week, so it doesn't really count. There hasn't been a single week so far, apart from that starting week, that I've worked where I haven't worked over 40 hours on average. So the thing is, I'm getting good hours, and I'm making tons of money. I'm always getting overtime. And, I mean, it's good money, but I really wish they'd give me $1 raise, and I could really start seeing some extra cash rolling through on my end of things, because right now I'm just saving up a lot of money because I'm prepared to put down my security deposit and my application fee and all the withholding fees and everything it takes to get an apartment. I'm willing to put all that down and still have $4,000 or $5,000 extra dollars for spending purposes, not investing purposes. But I also want $3,000 in my bank account sitting there looking nice, whatever, just so if my car takes a shit I can get it repaired without having to rape my credit or whatever. And I'm also spent the whole year building up my credit score, really making progress, working out self-improvement in general, financial improvement, and I've been enhancing my education and my weapons training, and I've been enhancing a bunch of other stuff about myself. I'm just making non-stop progress, and I think that's just really awesome. Those 3 months that I was unemployed, I was always making videos, I was always doing something to keep my time occupied while also staying positive. I've been getting more physically active, I've been embarking on new skills, and even if it's something useless, I just want to be decent at something. I want to have a multitude of different skills, and I don't know, I think when people start really treating life as a video game and really start focusing on upgrading themselves as a person, I think that it's really awesome. It's good energy, it's a good vibe. I don't know, but what I do know is this: it's getting kind of late and I'm getting kind of hungry. So if a pizza place is still open, I doubt it is at 8:50, then I'm ordering me a pizza and I'm going to be watching me a movie. So I'll see you guys in the next one tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be in better spirits. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's life is interesting. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.